What's up? It's your boy Bushe Banks. It's Hip Hop Galaxy Podcast, episode 4. I'm flanked by an army of people. Introduce yourselves, people. We'll start from that side of the room.
Just to get a record, I don't flank nobody. I'm not about that flanking, man. All right, it's These are the MD. Yeah, I'm me.
Okay, cool.
Right. Silas Beats.
Okay, cool.
Genius M, aka I Lead.
Okay, cool. So we've got quite a variety of people in here. Diliza obviously a rapper. Silas Beats a producer. Genius, you are a lawyer.
A bit of everything, man.
Okay.
But yeah, for today I'll play the lawyer part. Yeah.
Are you a lawyer, bro? Because now I don't know anymore. Sounded very shady. You're playing a lawyer. But anyway, we've got a lawyer in the house.
That's what's
Because
up.
a lot of stuff has happened, bro. I'm even scared to talk, bro. We were talking off camera about what's been going on in the space, media space. Obviously, Bonang sued a podcaster.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that, Genius.
Yeah, I did say that. I've been following a lot of that. There's been a whole lot of lawsuit flying around. It's good for the legal industry right now, I can say.
Well, it's bad for the podcast industry. But it's wild because my thoughts were like, okay, yeah, you can defame someone, but like, if I don't have 300,000, how can a judgment have to be fair and equitable in terms of what I can pay?
Yeah, man. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. It's not based on how much you have. You know what I mean? Like, if you've defamed someone, and it's not up to you to decide whether you have the money or not. Besides, if the judgment is out there, it's out there. You gotta figure out how to actually pay it off. So,
Do I pay back in installments?
actually, there are such arrangements. You know,
Really?
because you have to show what you can afford and what not, and then those arrangements can be made. Of which it becomes kind of silly, you know, in those instances, because people come with their statements and say, okay, this is how much I'm making. I can only afford 500 Rand a month. That's ridiculous. You know, it happens in civil cases in a whole lot of times, you know.
So now, but what are the ground rules now? Because what's the line between, you know, me having my podcast, doing my thing, and saying something about someone, right?
Yeah.
And then, like, where's the line drawn? That's what I'm trying to ask.
It's a matter of, is it, whatever you're saying, is it something that's interesting to the public, or it's something that just goes below the belt, or, you know what I mean? Because if you make certain allegations, obviously, if someone has a brand, they have a lot to lose, you know what I mean? There is a fine line, you know, in terms of what you can say, if you can prove it, or if it's something that's already out there, then there shouldn't be any issues.
Because if I say I heard Diliza did this, like, I have to then prove it in court.
Obviously, if Diliza is going to come at you, you got to prove it. You can't then point a finger on someone and say, I heard from such and such, you know what I mean? So you got to be really careful of what you say.
Okay, so nobody say any
Back it
wild
up.
things, because I don't have 300K, bruh.
Back it up, bro. Back it up.
Oh, man. So,
Look-
so technically, you could... What if it's a diss track? I mean, technically, someone could say... you could diss somebody on a track.
No, that's. I think that's something different. You know, I think that's something different. On a diss track, it's on an art form. You understand?
Also, the judge is going to be like, nah, it's about the streets.
Nah, I
This
think
is the rules of engagement, man. You can't sue him, you know.
That's wild, because technically, bro, I can say, yo, I slept with Thingy's mama, and then it's cool. So Ria just
No,
had to
it's-
add a beat
it's
and
not
say,
really cool, 'cause-
told me Bonang. And it's like, oh, cool, that's chill.
no, it's not really like that. But like, obviously, it's always been looked over. Like when it comes to diss tracks, and it doesn't mean that you can't actually go that route and say I've been defamed through this platform. You can do that, but just that based on
No rapper's going to go
exactly, no rapper is gonna go there. Even based on the culture, you know what I mean. You can't. That's something that has to be addressed on the mic. So if you feel offended, you just get on wax and respond, and that's how it's always been. So whenever you now take that to a court platform, then it seems as if you basically weak. You can't, use the proper platform to address the stuff.
True.
All right. I don't know. Any more thoughts on that?
No, I mean, there was also the case of, Cardi B Someone also.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I think you're saying it's 1.5 million that
Yes.
he has to pay, or that I don't know if it was a chick, but someone had a blog.
Yeah, so
that
Tasha
just
K.
went
Yeah.
blasting off, saying things about people. You can't just be out here saying things about people, man. Like a big thing I think is like people think celebrities are a certain type of people. It's like anyone on the street. If someone just came up to you and started saying things about your mother, like, how would you feel? Like, honestly, just started saying things about your mother and like, hey, you take drugs and you do this, you do that. Like, how would you feel? Like, people seem to think celebrities have this wall
Are
around
immune,
them.
yeah.
And immune
Yo.
to people saying bad things about them.
That's
like, they're a normal
crazy.
person. So, yeah, I think it's fair. I honestly think it's fair. If someone says stuff like that about you and it's for the media, I mean, these whole platforms, like people, you ever seen People magazine, the headlines that they have in there? I'm just like, what is this based off that you're saying someone slept with someone? What do you, now they're picking up the paper, they're like, I don't even know this person. Yet now, now the world says that I've slept with this person. No.
Okay.
It's not right.
Nah,
Sue them.
man. That's wild. Anyway, there's another topic that I obviously just wanted to bring up on my side in terms of the Copyright Act and the Copyright Amendment and all of that. What's going on with that? Because now it's been referred back to Parliament and, what's the impact of that?
Definitely. There's a whole lot that's been happening. I mean, dating back to 2011, I think, in terms of the whole copyright. Remember, our Copyright Act, the one that we currently have, dates back to like 78.
Let's just go back. Copyright, protect somebody's copyright, right? It's
Yeah.
negative, what is that? What do you call it?
I don't know. I'm not sure I'm following.
Or,
I'm
ba-
trying-
or basically, it protects your works, right?
Yeah, it protects your work. If you're an originator of a piece of work, that's what copyright does. It automatically protects you. That is in the context of South Africa. You don't have to register anything. So when you produce a track, then you automatically own the copyright to the track. Obviously, copyright, we just oversimplifying here because it's a bundle of rights that are attached to that piece of work. So yeah, you automatically protected by that. So it's a whole I don't know how to put it. It's a whole sphere basically that gets to regulate how that piece of work gets to be exploited and stuff. So there are rules to how that whole thing works in terms of how do you enforce those rights should they be infringed, and most importantly, it gives you sort of like a monopoly over that piece of work that you just created.
Yeah.
So the whole issue then becomes as to what exceptions are there in place for someone to use your work without actually acknowledging you or even compensating you. So that's where the whole issue is leading up to the whole amendment of the Copyright Act. Because previously what you have on the current act is that you have numerous clauses, like you have a closed list of exceptions whereby someone can use your work without acknowledging you or paying you anything.
wow.
You know what I mean? So now it has been expanded. You know what I mean?
That exceptions list.
That exception list has gotten bigger.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? So that's where the problem is. And then if it has gotten bigger, that means it becomes easier for anybody to infringe our copyrighted work. So if it becomes easier for somebody to infringe your work, how do you then stop someone from, or how do you then approach someone who's actually infringed your work? You've taken my track, you've used it in your podcast. How do I then stop you from further using it? Well, surprise, surprise, you have to go to court to do that. You know what I
Jeez.
mean? We can't just have it or talk it out or whatever.
Yeah.
For you to prove that it's been an infringement, it has to go to court first. For you to just raise the one of the exceptions to say, you know what, for example, it's fair use.
Yeah.
And then that's another expense.
That's another expense. That's where the problem is, actually. That's where the music community is actually up in arms and saying, no, we can't be going to court for such a thing.
Where does it stop though? Like if I have, let's say, Block Water and I want to use Casper's song,
Yeah.
then you still have to take me to court before anything, or
If you go ahead and use it without my consent, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, your defense would be like, no, this is fair use. I'm not infringing on anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's your defense. But for us to get there, for you to say it's fair use, it has to be in court first.
yo,
So you already spent the money.
Exactly.
To
It
already
gives-
start that process.
Ah.
So
So it gives the judges the discretion to determine what really is fair use, what isn't. You know,
So
instead
you
of
actually
having
might
clause
lose-
list.
Yeah, you might
So
actually.
what you're saying then, like from an artist's point of view, is that if I'm already established, I've got good income, I've got lawyers, that process is gonna happen pretty easily. But if I was someone who was making this in my bedroom, I happen to upload it to SoundCloud, a brand comes, takes the song, puts it on their thing, like for me to start that process, it's gonna be much. It's much more tough for me to actually get
Sure.
anything out of that. For
Exactly.
established artists, it's fine. They probably do
Yeah.
have the lawyers and people who will start to challenge that. But for anyone else, how do they protect? How would they go about protecting their music and their content?
That's the thing, because now, okay, fine. To answer that first question, like for a normal, like or an artist who's not yet out there, who hasn't made so much for themselves, for them to actually enforce, it's going to be difficult if they have to go to court first, to have to get any resolution of some sort. So I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking like with the collection societies like your Samro, if you are part of that, I think they should have the budget to, because they're the ones who are actually enforcing your taking care of your licensing on your behalf and stuff. So they should have, in my opinion, the budget to have that. But still, that's a process. How much of a budget are they gonna have to actually take
See that
everybody?
Because there's a lot of cases.
There's a lot of
There's a
cases,
lot.
and there's a lot of members that they represent. So is it even possible to do that?
But there's something that Silas and I have discussed before, and it's the whole thing of if you are a smaller artist, someone stealing your music is promotion. So what are you complaining about? You know what I mean? If someone steals your music and puts it on somewhere, that's free advertisement. It's clearly a song that they like, meaning other people could like it, meaning other people might search for the song, and there you have it. So there's also that thing. Like, should you really be wanting to challenge anyone for unless they steal your song to make their song? You know what I mean? Then that's a problem.
See, that's
a bit
sort
of
of
a
like
problem. But if they're stealing it to just play it somewhere, then
for me.
you give it to radio for free. So what?
So for me, that's sort of like politicizing the whole thing, because for me, it defeats the whole purpose. Like, just like I said, that for you to have that own monopoly on the original works, it means that nobody can touch your work or put it out there or make it available anywhere without your consent.
Yeah.
Whether it be for you, basically, I feel like if you can't use the copyright laws, or if you then resort to saying no, it's promotion, basically that's you wavering your rights in terms of what you've just created as an originator of the work. So I usually hear that a lot, to say no, it's promotion, it's for my good and stuff, but sort of like directly you're telling other people, you say no, go ahead, I need promotion, take my shit.
Oh, it's a tough one.
So basically, this amendment bill is just expanding the list of what's considered fair use.
Mostly when it comes to music, remember, like I usually find it difficult when asked as to, okay, what are the adverse effects of this copyright amendment. Remember, there are different interest groups in this whole thing. There's literary works covered in this whole thing, of which for them, they have everything they want in terms of, because their main struggle when it comes to literary works, like for instance, right now, blind essay is in court, right? Basically, they are saying there's actually 1% of textbooks out there that are in usable format, right? Because remember, for the blind, they have to take already published works and actually convert them to Braille. So to convert them to Braille, they have to get the permissions from the publishers. You know what I mean? So those provisions have been provided that they can actually, it's fair use for them to actually take those. You know what I mean?
And that permission from the publishers includes paying them, so it becomes
Exactly.
Oh.
So for them, I feel like it's delaying the copyright, the whole process of finalizing the whole bill.
So they're pushing for it.
They are pushing for it.
Yeah.
At the same time, musicians, they want to shorten that clause, that list. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So you can't. So there's sort of like conflicting interests when it comes to this whole thing.
Well, the
So-
people who are going to lose money, because then would it not technically? Because I heard there's the international interest as well.
Definitely.
So you could take like a show or music and you could play it that side, and they don't necessarily need to pay South African artists.
That's the thing, because now remember, the people that can do that, it's usually these huge corporations. I mean, if Google, for instance, were to do something like that, for you to litigate against Google, you know what I mean, for them to just say this was fair use, you know what I mean,
Which is
it's an
unfair
issue.
because that's where you know the kind of money you're losing out on. You know, maybe a YouTuber uses your thing, you think of it more as promotion, right? They put it on the platform, it's a blog, whatever. Google comes, they've got the money they should be paying people appropriately for whatever they use.
Yeah.
And they also, this thing is now allowing them to come in and just use the whole
Exactly.
fair use
It just
thing.
opens up. It makes it easier for copyright to be violated. And the issue is now to even if the court were to quickly get to a decision to say, okay, no, this wasn't fair use. Remember, they can still appeal.
Yo.
So you still got to have the money to pay those lawyers.
Exactly. They can still easily appeal, and that can drag the process again just to get to resolution out of a court setting. So for the local musician, it's not gonna fly. You know.
And there's also the aspect of drug companies and stuff, right? That doesn't make it easier for them to make cheaper drugs now because.
Definitely, that's another interest group now. The medicine.
Musicians are gonna lose.
So you understand now, if you were the president and then you have all these different interests coming at you and people saying,
Not everyone's going to win.
Exactly, not
You're
everyone's
have
going
to
to
cut your
win.
losses. And I feel like as artists, we're quite low on the food chain. You got drugs, we are so
Exactly.
low.
So people are gonna say, "Hey, we want access to cancer medicine," and right now this whole process is delaying. People are dying out here.
Like, nah, nigga, trap beats way more than
So you have to
medicine.
weigh what's important. You know, trap beats, medicine. You know.
Gosh, that's so true, actually.
So I don't want to be the president right now, but at the end of the day, it doesn't take away the fact that a proper consultation should be actually carried out. You know, you just gotta consider each and everyone's submissions, of which that's been part of the reasons why there have been delays in concluding this process, because it had to go back because there were allegations that not all the submissions were actually taken into account, especially from the music side.
Yeah, no one's gonna listen to
Yo.
No one's gonna listen to
Oh, but it's
at the bottom of the list.
Yo, it's gonna be rough, bruh. First COVID, now this.
Yeah, man, it's a process that doesn't need to be rushed. There's a lot at play, bro. Like, there's a lot at play with this act coming to play, especially for musicians. It's quite important because, remember, since it's a 1978 or so act that we're using, we've since gotten into the digital age, right? Like streaming and whatnot. That's not taken into account in the old act, right? So now it's not properly addressed in the bill. So we can't say pass it on. Medicine guys are waiting. The blind SA are waiting. You know, we have to get that addressed, because if we don't do that now, when is the next 10 that we're gonna get? You know, to actually address all of these issues, especially the streaming
But
rights
you
and
look
stuff.
at what happened during COVID, and with with all the grants that we released, and then artists crying out. There was a whole strike in KZN.
Yeah.
Artists are crying out that, like, we can't do anything. What help are we getting? And I think that fell on deaf ears. I don't know if anything happened after that.
So anything.
Like, I don't know. And
What,
I don't
in
think
terms
people
of-
cared enough.
In terms of artists getting a payout of some kind from somewhere.
Yeah. And also, they were complaining that, they can't tour, they can't do anything. So surely there should be some sort of compensation.
So there have been relief funds that were
Is
made
it?
available.
Who would
But
they go to, and how do they qualify?
so now that's the thing now. So I don't know if it was the Department of Arts and Culture, I might be wrong, but there was a relief fund to say that you would need to prove that there would be future loss of income. So that basically speaks to an established artist who was
booking
probably
shows.
going to get booked shows. So you have to already prove that, right? There were a couple of other things. When I read through that list, I was like, there's no way that, someone like us who isn't already getting stuff is going to benefit in any way. Then Capasso, Samro, who else had a relief fund? But they had very small amounts. So they were saying we were going to give, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Capasso had a 2,000, these numbers, I think it was 2,000 Rand. It's 2,000 Rand that they gave out to a set amount of people. But again, you had to put forth your
1,000 rand.
2,000. And I think it was on multiple occasions. I might be mixing up Capasso and Samro, but I say that all to say, look, the numbers might be a little bit off, but I say that all to say that the amount of money that went out to artists was nothing, and majority of it went to people who were bound to have a means to make money in another way. Yeah.
Exactly.
So the
Brands
people
to them and things like that.
you saw people like going on to shows like who was it that was doing
House party lockdown.
that thing? You see, they already had a means, but that was the very same type of artist that was bound to benefit from all these other grants.
So for them, it was like going from 3-ply to 2-ply, basically.
And for those who didn't have toilet paper,
Stayed
stayed without toilet paper. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
That's crazy,
It's
bro.
depressing, man.
Yeah, I say, yeah, we at the bottom of the list. Like, no one cares, my guy.
Okay, so
No one cares.
so as artists, because I think a lot of the time it comes down to this an element of ignorance in that what can we do now in our circles to affect what's going on there? Is there anything? Is it too late?
Obviously, all the submissions have gone through, and there've been a lot of consultation opportunities given. I don't know if anybody has seen, but there've been communication. There's been emails to say, okay, fine, there's going to be a meeting of such and such for people to. There was actually one YouTube event that I saw where people were actually invited there to actually get consulted on the whole process so that they can vent out their issues and stuff. So my issue with that is that people don't care. You know what I mean? Like with these type of things, they don't feel affected until
The artists. When you say people, you mean the artists don't care.
yeah, the artists they don't care. Also myself
Sorry.
on an artistic capacity, you know what I didn't
sorry.
care for the longest time as an artist what was happening with the whole copyright amendment and stuff. You know what I mean? All the consultations, like okay, they will do it. You know what I mean?
Someone is gonna log. Someone's gonna do it. For
Somebody's gonna go there. They will tell us when it's done. Then we'll come through and we'll get our
That's
royalties,
why
whatever.
artists at the bottom of the list, because they don't care. So if they don't care, who cares?
Exactly. There's very few of artists on the ground. If you actually get to follow this whole thing, there's very few artists on the ground. You know what I mean? In as much as we claim that there's so many artists that are gonna suffer from this, but in terms of visibility and participation, it's very few. Because if it wasn't for the CMOs, of which they've been the ones that have been vocal about this whole thing.
With the CMOs.
To be honest, that's how I found out.
What are CMOs again?
So Samro Capasso, all of those
Oh,
organizations,
yeah, the music,
Sampra.
yeah.
So I think just in terms of getting the information, I know artists are terrible with their emails, but just in terms of getting the information, if artists are on their mailing lists, the Samro, Capasso, Risa, Sampra mailing lists,
Yeah.
they don't speak often, and usually it's about an AGM or some kind of meeting that you're probably not going to attend anyway.
Yeah.
But every now and again, they will talk about important stuff like this, and that's kind of when we then need to,
Because
act.
there was a conversation during COVID about a music union, and that needs to be
Yeah.
established.
We had time. The thing is, we all had time to do
But
all
it
sorts
never
of
got
things, but it
established,
never
did
happened
it?
because now we're opening up. People are going
Because
straight
it was
back to doing
musicians.
what they were doing before.
Because it was musicians.
Y'all had a whole year to figure it out.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like in terms of being active participants in this whole thing that affects us as artists, it's something, that we really
I
have to
think
do
that-
something
I mean,
about.
that's going to be difficult for the average artist. Not that it's difficult to get involved, but if you look at how involved someone is with their own music, it's still not at a level where it should be. So forget the external, factors. Like just people with their own music aren't as involved as they should be, and that means like getting to know the entire industry, the business side of things, knowing what laws do apply to your music, what type of copyrights are there, what does each CMO that we've just spoken about, what does each one do? So it's a big ask to even get them at that stage now where they actually care about the entire environment. Forget not even caring enough for one's own music. Like now they
Yeah.
have to care for the entire environment, which I don't see happening.
Nah, fam.
So the thing is, what then has to be done? Because that's the same question that most of these CMOs are asking themselves. Okay, what is it that we have to do? Because in terms of educating the masses, in terms of the artists, they've went all out. You know what I mean? In terms of educating,
Have they?
I feel like, what more can you do in terms of offering? In terms of like putting together.
I haven't seen anything.
I was
Okay,
going to
I
say
can-
they've got
yeah.
a lot of information, and they're very, very good when they bring people out. But sometimes I hear about the event as it's happening, and I try to keep my ear to the ground. I either hear about it as it's happening, or it's a very closed event, and I see pictures or a very short clip from it. The other thing that they could do is they could make take the information to the people, but not in that we're going to go into the middle of Soweto, find a venue and do something there. We are going to take all of our master classes that they run and we're going to utilize the website, the very same website where they want us to register. They utilize that very same website to have videos for education. Does Samro have a YouTube channel? An active YouTube channel? I don't know.
Sneak this.
Yeah,
No, I'm just asking questions.
Messing up the Samurai bag, dog.
Yeah.
We're gonna try and tell them we'll shoot videos for you, but here you are dissing them.
Hey, man. But basically what I'm saying is that the information is there. You know what I mean? Especially the websites are a good starting point compared to like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The information that is there is, you know what I mean? If one is really interested in learning, it's enough to get you from A to B. And then you can always consult with them. That's the other thing. You can walk in there. I don't know what experience people have with doing walk-ins and asking questions and stuff, but it's all there. But the question is, are people actually taking advantage of that?
I'm gonna defend the artist and say that they've got a lot to think about already about themselves. I think that's why they end up being very selfish in their thinking, not thinking about the greater good because there's so much happening around them.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about people who can barely get a hold of beats. Like,
Yeah.
let's take it right down to a super basic level. Now you want them to care about the greater good of the music industry in the future. I don't know.
Hey.
And the bigger
too
artists don't
much.
care because the money's coming in anyway.
Yeah, they've got the corporate money and
Yeah, that's the
coming
thing.
in
I think that's the reasoning with the artists on the ground. The ones that haven't gotten deep into the industry, it's like, we're not benefiting from this anyway. You know what I mean? Let those who are benefiting actually fix it, or voice out their opinions and stuff. So,
Sure, that's wild, bro. I know we were speaking last week, Silas, about if you get a contract shoved in front of your face.
Oh yeah.
And I said, you need to get a lawyer. And you said, yo, that's expensive.
We got a lawyer.
We literally got a
I'll
lawyer,
send you the
bruh.
bill.
The bill.
it is expensive. I don't want to lie. It is expensive.
So what do you suggest? And let's say Deliza, they call him up. They say, yo, we like your style, your sound. What do you suggest he does? Where does he go from there?
read.
Facts. Facts. Read, bruh. Like, read. Try and understand it in your own, you know what I mean, ways. Like, I don't know.
Inter alia,
Bruh, like,
subsection C.
Google is your friend, bruh. You know what I mean? Like, try and read and try and understand as much as you can. You know what I mean? Where you get stuck, then you can...
How much are you looking at? You looking at like hiring a lawyer per hour to look at that contract for you? Or is it like a set fee?
it's standard, but like lawyers work per hour. So...
Sure. Roughly.
But there is pro bono. There are lawyers who working pro bono. You know what I mean? You can usually Google
That's
those.
free.
That's free. Yeah,
99.
like they can help you do that. But they're hard to come by. You know, pro bono for entertainment law. I don't know, man.
I think this is where the hustle in someone actually just has to come out somehow. Like this is where your hustle is tested because
How?
you're gonna either be someone who suddenly figures out how to make friends with people in law school. You know, if you're a varsity student right now, do you have a friend in law school? If not, go hang around where the other students are.
Definitely.
And try
Yo,
and get some.
guys.
No, that's what I mean. Like
Let me
it's gonna come from now just being clever about it because no artist, like you were saying, like some people don't even have money to put together beats, but there's no solution for that. The only way is for them to find a way. You gotta find a way. You gotta rip things off YouTube. You've gotta do something. Just find a way.
True that. Definitely.
Tony
'cause-
Robbins.
So it's like, what are you gonna do?
Woodley's not feeling this.
I mean,
Why?
I need to make TikTok videos. I
What are
need
you gonna
to I need to lobby. Now I need to make
Hey.
friends with lawyers.
You definitely
Bro,
have to,
what?
because look at it this way. Because in as much as it is hard to get into the entertainment industry for an artist, it's also hard to get into entertainment industry for a lawyer. You guys need each other. You know what I mean? For me, how I got introduced to this whole thing, I was still in varsity. When someone got signed and were like, "Hey, chief, I need help." You know what I mean? All I knew was contract law at that time. You know what I mean? And I was willing to do it for free because I didn't have the experience. I wasn't admitted, but I had exposure and I had superior, like I had senior lawyer friends in firms and whatnot. So through me, then became easier to actually go through that contract and give them feedback. So we need each other. If an upcoming artist don't expect to work with the top shot. You know what I mean? The
Yeah,
fee,
yeah.
the
No,
fee is
rappers
gonna be-
must hang out results of law schools and
Yeah.
yo, bro,
Yeah.
that's
The
so
hustle must be
wild,
strong,
dog.
brother. The hustle must
Yeah,
be
the
strong.
networking has to expand. You
But
know
if
what
you
I
think
mean?
about it, if you think about the music industry or trying to get into it and what you're gonna need, you are gonna need a host of people, man. You're gonna at some point you're gonna need people who are experts. But if you can't afford them, you're gonna have to find out through talking to people. Oh man, who's this? Like this morning, someone was in here recording, and I found out from him like a cheaper, more effective radio plugger than from my research on Google, because Google was pointing me obviously to people who are established, people who are going to charge 15 to 20K, and then
Yeah.
he was like, no, actually, there's a guy for 3K. But if I hadn't asked, if I didn't open my mouth, if I didn't come here,
Yeah.
if I didn't, that's why people when they're talking about networking, they don't mean go to necessarily a seminar and then shake everyone's hand,
Business
which is
card.
also good in a way,
Yeah.
but it just means talk to enough people. Do the active footwork. Go to a place just to find out what's happening.
Yeah.
Oh, there's an event. There's an event here. Do you ever allow artists to perform? Next, thing you know, like, yeah. You make friends with the guy who owns the place, and he's like,
Gotcha.
yeah, come through. What I'll let you perform. You seem like a nice enough guy. That's what they actually mean. I think this whole thing of hustling, like people, like musicians, we don't necessarily understand what that means. Only when someone has made it, you say, yeah, hustled my way, and then that person doesn't explain. Okay, what do you mean you hustled your way? What did you do? What was the actual practical things you did? And these are the things you only find out along the way. That it just means get out there.
Yeah.
It sounds like a very simple thing, but it just means get out there. Get out of your room, go speak to somebody, go try something, and you'll figure it out, and maybe someone will help you along the way.
Makes
So-
sense theoretically.
Hustle 101.
Yeah, your network has to really go beyond just other musicians, producers. You need everybody. You need the whole clique up in there. You need your attorneys up in there. You need your accountants up in there. So you have to network that wide. For it to work, because you can do the product, you can compose the song, write the song, master it and whatever, but the 90% of the work is what happens after that.
Yeah, actually, there's something happened to me when I was releasing music frequently. Now that I think about it, actually, I got 3 lawyers who became fans. 3 lawyers who I didn't know, at all, and who started giving advice.
Wow.
And then when I researched, like one of them, I was like, "Oh, this guy's like proper. This guy is like proper. Why
are you here?
This ain't not yeah, exactly. This is not a student. It's like this guy is a proper." So even within your fan base, don't sleep on your fan base. If you've
Exactly.
got people listening to your music, maybe over there you can even send
That's
a message
smart,
to them and be like, "Yo,
Yeah,
guys,
that's
is
leverage for
any
you.
of you lawyers or whatever?" And then next thing you know, you've got a lawyer
Yeah.
that you didn't pay.
There's another cheaper option as well, because right now there's an advent of legal consultancies. They're usually cheaper than your attorneys.
What's the difference?
How does that?
Because basically, with the law firm, you have to actually register with the law society
Yeah.
and all of that. They subscribe to certain rates and stuff. With the legal consultancy, it's sort of like different. Like as an LLB student, without admission as an attorney, I can't do a consultancy.
Yeah.
Because you can just speak on what is the law
Exactly.
and-
So it's
Oh,
actually cheaper. But the catch is usually with how much exposure does one have with the entertainment industry type of contract and stuff. So you can't just go to anyone. You know what I mean?
And
That's
I'm
the
sure
other
the
thing.
recourse is different, because if somebody who's like an attorney messes you up, you've got I think you've got
Exactly.
recourse.
Exactly.
to-
Yeah, you can always go to law society and say, hey, this guy took my money and then you were supposed to do 1, 2, 3 and he didn't, and then there's recourse to that.
But with legal consultancy, there
The
isn't.
legal consultant is kind of different. But I think the
Scammers.
push
So
is
is it like
always
at your own risk sort of thing?
not really, like it would be like just consulting any other professional,
Okay, can you just
Like,
drop
obviously
some
there will be
names, like practically, like if I wanted to go to a consultancy, name 1 or 2. So just
I'm just gonna name this company.
There's many, bruh. There's many.
So is it okay? Maybe methods then, so we don't have to maybe mention them.
Yeah.
Also, they must pay us for promotion. But like, if I Google,
Yeah.
or if I search, how can I find one? Who should I speak to? Or can they DM you?
in terms of like finding,
A consultancy.
yeah, you just Google them, man. Like there are a lot of legal consultants. If you go on Google, actually, there's one that I like. Actually, they actually have packages. to say, okay, for this, we give you a package of maybe if you just want to maybe start a business or whatever, for entertainment related stuff like your split agreements and whatnot, we have that in that package, 2.5. You pay that once off and then that's it. I think it's legalese.
Drop the name for the culture.
It's legalese, man.
So the culture drop the name.
It's legalese.
So they know
I think they're the
legalese.
coolest. Yeah, they're the coolest. And the other thing is, who wants to, like most of these entertainment attendees, they're based in Sandton, man. It's like big, like your top fives type of, who wants to walk to Sandton just to, you know what I mean? As an upcoming artist, that's not even possible. So you want people who are amongst the people. So you have to find, and consultants are usually amongst us.
You can find them.
It's wild.
Quite easily.
Next, kind of next thing I want to touch on, it's going to be a controversial, my take is a bit controversial.
Yeah.
When it comes to Payola,
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with Payola. I think it's marketing, but apparently it's illegal. Have people paid Payola? Yeah, the silence.
No, I
the
think it's,
silence is deafening.
we all know it's there. That's a fact.
Why? But break down. Why is it illegal? Is it not just another form of marketing?
It is marketing, but now, remember, these are public platforms, right?
Okay.
We're supposed to be playing on the same level field, right?
Yeah.
So now, if it now becomes an issue of whoever gets played has to, you know what I mean, the one who pays, or whoever pays gets to get played, then it changes, it tips the scales.
It's not fair anymore.
It's not fair anymore. You know what I mean? So it means whoever's going to get playlisted is the one with more money. And if we're talking 20K, who walks around with 20K, bro? Like, how many songs you want to release per song?
But then what is fair? Like, is that somebody's
What
taste?
Would, you know, honestly, what would be fair is if what they currently have, which is what's the playlist committee?
Yeah.
If the playlist committee was transparent, like if you could actually see a playlist committee sitting down and listening to songs,
Yeah.
and then saying what it is, or some sort of rating.
So
and being
there's a playlist
these
committee.
Every radio station has a playlist committee.
Okay.
Should
But the
have
thing
one.
is, bro, how many people are you gonna sneak this here, bro? These are platforms we need. As artists, these are platforms we need. Stop.
Carry on. I'm adding context.
So if you could somehow,
Your career's over before it even began.
Hey.
aren't you that guy?
Context, guy.
Cancel.
Man.
Carry on, sorry.
So these playlist committees, if you could actually see, okay, what are they judging the song on? All right, what are they judging the song on? Why you said no? And this is for everybody to see. Why you said no? What the listening process was like? Did you play the first 10 seconds and decide? If it was really that transparent, and then we could see what kind of songs get on radio, that would help the artist to make songs or improve on the things that is like, oh, okay, this is what people, they say it, and we've been to enough conferences to say, oh, we look out for this. But do you really? Do you
Where's
really?
the accountability?
Look, really, because what we hear on radio says that these are people who either have labels or a brand or whatever. I'm not hearing a new artist every week, which I should be according to the number of songs that have been, you know. There's not even a chart for new music. That tells you something. One radio station has a chart for purely new music, unknown artists who've sent in good quality songs, even if it's a top 5, my guy, for 30 minutes. Like, there's nothing, like, which tells you, like, okay, so what's the criteria you're really going on here? So I would say, as an artist, I need them to be more transparent.
In terms of their manpower, let's talk about that for a second. I don't think that they'd be able to. I'm just thinking about the music that I get. Because I get gang loads of MP3s sent to me, and it's like, look, man, please tell me what I can fix. This is long before we get to the radio stage. Tell me what I can fix. And I'm like, look, bro, I'll listen to it, but like, I might not. Like, there's a lot of music coming through. I can only imagine what those emails are like, the things that they're being bombarded with. And now with all this equipment being so easy to get, literally everyone is making music now.
I think
so they're also trying to protect.
They should just put in a fee, a submission fee.
For what?
For you to listen to the music and then the playlist, then you can pay the people for the playlist committee.
So like a
now you
feedback,
gotta
a feedback committee.
listen.
An application fee. Yeah,
to
because those
listen.
people need money to listen to it. That's
do your
time.
job.
But my other question is,
So I must pay
currently,
you to do your job now.
where's the money going?
What, for the payola?
Yeah, for the payola. Who's
Going to a
taking
single
it?
person.
A single person, exactly. How is it benefiting the whole system? It's not, that money is not coming to the system.
Yeah,
That's the other thing.
exactly.
That what also makes it unfair. You know what I mean?
And if there is one, if you're saying like it's a case of not having enough numbers or thing, that means there's already a bottleneck to this. If not enough people are actually be able to, because what I would deem a playlist committee is enough people, enough of the DJ, a representative from the DJs, a representative from obviously the producer, whatever of shows, whatever, actually sitting down and taking the time to listen to songs that, okay, maybe you might have an initial filter, right? Someone who's just listening in terms of quality of the recording, right? Just to say, okay, we're not gonna even send this to the playlist because based on just even your mixing and mastering, we can't. So, but at least that person says, nah, sorry, not enough mixing and mastering. Sorry. And then the ones that are, he doesn't judge it based on the song itself. He just judges it. Okay, is it a quality recording? Sharp. Playlist committee, you listen to this now, and you decide in terms of a song now, is this enough of a song? But I don't think there's also an incentive because radios are reliant on advertising money. They need the listeners, which means they need to play music that is known. What. So I don't even think the incentive to do this. I'm just talking that would be nice. But the incentive to do this, I don't think it's there, and I don't think any radio station's gonna take that.
But then, what's the difference between paying payola and using a plugger? Isn't that the same thing essentially?
It's the same thing. Basically, ain't the plugger gonna pay the playlister? He's just going to take a cut.
Yes,
not always. Not always.
Yeah, I think either he's got really good relationships with the playlister, or he is paying the playlister, which some people do. And they're upfront. They're like, okay, I need this much to pay the person I know at Metro.
But isn't it like, now it seems like this whole plugging thing is sort of like condoning corruption. You know what I mean? If you have relationships with other people and not with others, then it doesn't become fair. You know what I mean?
Is anything fair?
Especially for us.
No, there isn't, but we're trying to level the playing field.
Absolutely
You know what I mean?
nothing
We're trying to fix the whole industry. You know what I mean? So
But I don't think
we
you
gotta
can
have
know it.
fairness if you gotta fix everything.
But is somebody listening? A playlist committee, is that fair? I don't think that's fair, bro. Because
Because
that's
they
to
bias
somebody's
as well.
taste. Yes.
Exactly. Hence, we even have these waves, coming through like because I don't know, is it committees decide that people want to listen to this now, or they become
I think something happens. Someone, there's a Babes Wodomo or someone like that who kind of explodes within a community.
Yeah.
Right. So with her, I think it was what taxi ranks and things playing her music, which meant obviously, I mean, these are taxis. How many people every day are in a taxi and they're hearing this and then going to parties and they're hearing this and they're becoming fans of this? Then the buzz, that whole thing about buzz, essentially that's what it is. To the point where a radio station can't ignore, because now a DJ who's going to events and playing, and there's certain songs that he either keeps hearing other DJs, smaller artists, and then the crowd is going crazy over a song. Then people are requesting certain artists. They're like, oh, this person. He goes back to radio and says, this is the song.
This is what's happening.
This is what's happening. This is what the streets are doing. You know what I mean? I think it happens like that organic growth. But now not everyone
Can get
that. So we're talking from a point where you are either not in such a big community or necessarily, I mean, if you are someone like a Nasty C, I don't think anyone within his immediate community was going to be really listening to rap. You know what I mean? Instead, the internet helped him do that. So not everyone has the same
the same part.
We're just hoping that radios will actually allow for people to be heard. But like I said, I don't think the incentive is there to make them want to do that.
But also on the same wavelength, I'm just curious to know, how did it work with like golden age of like Kwaito? Every Kwaito song was different from, the other. How did it work? How did those get playlisted? Because there wasn't like sort of like a wave to say, okay, fine, now we're doing Mandoza and Kalagata style type of music. There wasn't any song like that.
But look at the radio stations that came up in that time. Like when I listened to people like, exactly, YFM. They had that connection to the streets, as it were. They were listening. They were actively listening. They were trying to build a name for themselves. They were actively listening. They wanted to be youthful. They wanted to be, what's current, what's happening, and stuff like that. And they made the effort to do so. And then what I found is that, like, cause my sister was a teenager at the time, so she was part of that demographic. She would always talk about why she listens to YFM. She was like, these guys play the latest house songs and what. And, she got to know the names and the music that was happening through listening to YFM. So they built themselves up that way. But they were for the people, right?
Yeah,
like I said, now it's about securing the bag. It's about getting that advertising money. It's about making sure that you're just playing the songs, whatever mainstream, we'll play the mainstream because that's what keeps people here. We're not trying to gamble and find out who else can come. Nah, we good.
Yeah.
We just need the money.
But I don't think it's ever been fair though. I'm sure there are labels out there that are paying for their singles.
Of course. Look, even in the States,
Yeah.
they will openly talk about we are going to radio. And going to radio means taking a big wad of cash to a radio station and helping them push that song to whatever station it might be.
My thing is, it should be transparent then if we're gonna do that. So then if I know what the rate is. That's my only gripe about it.
Butle wants to know how much payola is.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all I want to know. Because I'll treat it like a marketing budget. Because that's what they'll
Exactly.
probably stuff it in marketing
it
budget.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
It is, but now it goes back to the question of would you afford it? Because I think I'm gonna throw out a number, right? Let's say a specific DJ wants 20 grand
Yeah.
to rotate your song,
Yeah.
right? That's one DJ on one show at one radio station. How much is your budget in order
Well,
to?
it's a-
Unless you're so confident in your song, so confident, no, this song is a banger.
Yeah.
There's no way this thing can't spread. There's no way. Like you've got to be on that thing. In
But
your
that's
head.
business, right?
Yeah.
You make a product, you make a shoe, you have a set amount, you have to say, do
Okay.
I advertise this on
Okay.
TV, radio, or
Alright.
social media?
Are you gonna spend a large chunk on one billboard?
It would depend.
Man,
It's a
they tell you
situation-
there's 1,000 cars passing there per hour. One billboard.
Yeah, it would
you're gonna,
depe- it
you're
would-
gonna spend.
it
You're,
would
you're gonna
depe-
rely on that one billboard to get you your business.
It would depend. It would depend on my goal. If I know on that road there's a buyer from Checkers that goes in there, right? Then I
Yeah.
could put the product on the billboard. Then I could go to the buyer and be like, "Yo, we big. People want us. Have you seen our billboard?" Oh yeah, I have seen the billboard. Hey, you guys are big. Hey, come in for a thing. It's about strategy, dog. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so you're
What a
saying
hustle.
target that one thing,
That's
and then
it.
get everyone to be like, "Yo, I'm rotating on this radio station. You know, this radio station is playing my song." So you hype
It
it. So now you
depends,
spend
yes.
more time and effort hyping up that one plug that you have. That's what you say.
I'm
Now you
saying
take
it
and-
depends on your strategy. If you want to do the one thing or you take five and do it that way. It depends. But what I'm saying is that once it's out in the open, then you can plan. But now it's like, how much is it? Who do I have to go to?
Dog, that
What's
song
that?
better be fire. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Does it even have
That's
to be?
a-
Have you
that's-
ever heard
bruh.
a song and you're like, man, this song is trash, and it keeps on playing, and you're like, yo, I actually like this song now.
Every day.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like,
got a point.
what are
You've
you
got a
paying
point.
for? You're paying to be put in people's minds.
Yeah. You've got a point. You've got a
So
point.
that's what I'm saying. Is like, give me the prices so I know. Because now pluggers have sprung up because they're like, yo, there's a gap in information.
Yeah.
I can profit off of this.
Yeah.
And
So
charge
now
what I
there's
want.
more. There's more. There's
No,
more.
I don't know, bro. I don't know if I would spend my hard-earned money on rely on one DJ to get that one
If it's DJ Khaled.
rotation.
'Cause
Huh?
If it's
Oh,
DJ
okay, it's DJ How much you want, DJ Khaled?
You would, bro. Like, because it's different. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, there's artists who have 9 to 5s. You know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
pushing this thing on the side. So like that 20K for them, they can cut off
But
things. here
that's
and
what I'm
there.
saying. Why are we stuck on it's not fair? Business is not fair.
No,
dog.
definitely it's not fair because, just like I said, it now makes it difficult for someone who doesn't have that money to actually, of which
What's
these
not my
are all-
problem?
It's not your problem, but remember,
He's such a capitalist, bro.
Yo, he's not about the people, this guy.
it's not,
No, I'm just
it's
saying.
all about,
Start
we're
a
trying to
business,
create,
get your
Eventually,
Make money.
eventually, it's gonna be about the people because it's transparent.
you said, you even use the word yourself. I feel like it's illegal. It is illegal. You know what I mean? Like, let's put it for the record. It is, Payola is illegal. You know what I mean? So don't go there. You know what I mean?
Is using pluggers illegal?
It should be illegal, bro. What are they
But I don't-
doing?
I don't think it is.
What are they doing? No, I'm saying, what are they doing?
Yeah,
That
but there's ambiguity there.
there's no ambiguity.
No,
We're
it-
trying to make it ambiguous. There's no ambiguity.
No,
this guy is
because
gonna pay
You
the
can
playlist.
What if he doesn't
These guys
play?
are pushers.
What if it's
He
a
might
relationship?
not.
Yeah.
He might not play. That's what I'm saying. It's a case of
Okay,
with,
if
the,
it-
with Payola, you are paying to get your music placed.
Okay, with the plugger, what do you do?
You're paying so they can take it there.
To tap into the
Tap
relationship.
into the relationship. or pay to get it placed. So it's either. That's what I'm saying. It's ambiguous. We don't know what they're
There's
gonna
no
do.
ambiguity there, bro. Like for me, it's
In
clear
your
cut.
answer, please realize that Delisa said he paid a plug on this.
Hey, I
wait.
did not say that. You can rewind
No,
the
man,
tape.
like
You can rewind the tape. I did not. I did
No,
not
the whole
say it.
issue of pluggers and
It was
payola,
hypothetical.
the industry is unanimous on it that they acknowledge that it is there. You know what I mean? They acknowledge that it's there, but we still accept it. It's illegal, but we do it anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, Touchline even has a song called 5 Grand.
How?
You don't know the song?
Yeah, I do.
Exactly.
That's how much it cost for him to get songs.
There it is.
No, but there was artistic there. He was talking about $5,000.
here we
Hey,
go.
bruh.
This-
No, but I'm simply saying, like it's obvious.
guy.
Everybody.
This guy.
Hey,
knows.
bruh, you wanna get sued now? Touchline pays 5,000 rand for.
No, he
Payola.
didn't say he paid.
No.
He said, guess what the radio asked for him to get played?
Aye,
5 grand.
bruh.
So whether he paid it or not, I don't know. So
Hey, bruh, I wasn't there.
that's
You're
ambiguous.
right. I'm sorry to see your point though about that 1D. I think I should call someone up. And just start depositing money. You know, just gamble with 2 DJs or something.
Speaking to the mic.
Beat contracts.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about beat contracts. One for the producers, bro. Because my idea, right? I was telling Silas, like, what's stopping me, right? Let's say somebody gets a non-exclusive beat from Silas, right?
Yeah.
They rap over it. They blow up. What's stopping me from buying that beat outright and then going and knocking on that guy's door and saying, listen,
Me.
run a check or else this goes down.
So you buy a beat from him as a non-exclusive.
So Delisa buys the non-exclusive.
Yeah.
He
I
raps.
record a song.
He pays his payola people. He taps into his lawyer relationships. He does
Yeah.
everything. He blows up, ne? This man doesn't know he's blown up for some reason.
Yeah.
Which can happen.
I'm a hermit. Yeah,
Which can happen.
yeah, that
Yeah.
happens. It happens.
Yeah.
I see, yo, snap. This guy he didn't buy an exclusive thing here. I buy the beat.
As an exclusive.
Yes.
You buy it as an exclusive
Yes.
from me.
Yes.
I don't know that he's blown up.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Now the
How
beat.
he owns the beat.
Yeah.
Okay.
So technically, I can go to him and say, run up a check.
It depends. Okay, fine. Let me put it in context. For starters, when Silas sells him the license, the non-exclusive one, right?
Yeah.
How long is it running for?
I don't know. How long?
It gotta end at some point.
A year.
Okay, runs for a year,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
After that year, and then it doesn't renew. Obviously, usually with this contract, there's usually a renewal clause to say,
Okay.
okay, fine. After this, he's gonna get right of first preference to, you know what I mean, to buy it either as an exclusive or continue with another term.
Oh. So it
Right.
has to. Oh.
So you can actually block. You can block that from ever
So
happening.
it's actually
He
his
can block that.
it's his responsibility then to make sure that he doesn't sell the beat because he's got technically a contract with other people
Exactly.
running.
Yeah.
So he can't sell that beat.
The contract
exclusively.
management.
I see,
Music
I see.
industry is the only industry where I don't see a lot of contract management happening. People just sell stuff licenses just like that, and then
Yeah, no,
You know what I mean?
I've actually always asked myself too, like when I go to beat stores and I think to myself, okay, so now if I wanted this and I wanted it to be exclusive, I mean, how many people have downloaded this? How many people have really made songs off this? What's that person going to say? Because all they have there is bidding. Like the producer makes you bid, you know,
Yeah.
in terms of what
Yeah,
you're willing
basically
to pay for it. But then what if there really is a song on that beat? Then now who do I fight?
yeah, that's the thing. Now it's usually between you and the guy who sells you the license, right?
Yeah.
So for me, the important terms on a licensing contract would be that period, right? And also the other limitations that may be in there. You know what I mean? If I'm selling you a non-exclusive, how long is it running for? If it's a year, and then after that year, we have to be clear what happens after that. Are you gonna take it down, or are you gonna renew the lease? And is there an obligation on him not to sell this exclusively to anyone? You know what I mean? It sort of like contains the whole thing, because if it's left out open, such things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And he's going to want to fight him. And the fight is not with him, it's with him.
Yeah.
He's
I
not
messed
properly
up.
managing his contract.
Yeah.
So I can't go to him and get my money.
You can. That's the other thing now to say. What are the terms of that licensing contract? For every contract in general, you're gonna have.
But
Like
essentially, I can make life difficult. I can put it in. I can go to court and start a proceeding. Then we stop everything.
You can do that. But what I was getting at is that you have in the contract like the breach clauses. What constitutes a breach of this contract? You know what I mean? And if there is breach, it should say what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Am I gonna stop you from further using this, or you're gonna pay me a penalty? What's gonna happen? So there's a whole lot of those clauses that people don't take into account. The whole point of having a contract is so that everything is documented in this one doc. We don't have to go outside of this document to try and solve any dispute or anything. You know what I mean?
Cover everything.
It's supposed to cover everything. So if a contract doesn't cover everything, I mean, you should sit down as the one who's managing this contract and think of all the risks. You know what I mean? So, okay, what happens if someone does this? Okay, how am I going to handle it? That's how a contract is supposed to be run and managed. And there was also a question on the previous podcast that said something to the lines of, why do people even put you should have so much streams and whatnot? That's easy an income maker for you as a contract manager. I'll keep my eyes on your streams.
On the number.
Exactly, on the numbers to make sure that you don't go over that. If you do that, I claim more money from you, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
there are those clauses in the some of the like.
how many streams, how many videos you
how
can
many
make
radio station, how
out
many,
of it.
how many music video, what
And
places
cats are
can-
organized.
Exactly.
How
So
many
now,
no one's gonna no one's listening to that.
so
no one's
by not properly managing your licensing contract as a beat maker, I think that you're sort of like leaving money on the table. That's money you can actually get more of a beat from people being negligent with the contract terms. You know what I mean? Instead of doing 2 sync deals, they do 3. You can always go to them and say, "Hey, chief, more money," and you would have now made more money than you have anticipated from that beat alone by just enforcing what's already there. So we're leaving a whole lot of money with those contracts. The way we're managing them, we just take it as a tick box exercise. Okay, I sold you a beat, sign here, or here's the writing. Go about your way, and then we'll see if somebody blows, and then we'll renegotiate and stuff.
As a producer, this conversation strikes fear in my soul. Because I like to believe I keep good records.
Yeah.
Right? Of things. And I think for the most part, I haven't had a beat sold to the same person more than 3 times. Right? And I think even that's a handful. For a majority, it's usually 2 people. But for like those 1 or 2 cases where it's 3 people, sharp, whatever's happened. But in all of those cases, what you're saying is there should have been not an agreement sent. Because I know when you go and get beats off of BeatStars, it's just an agreement that's sent to you. And it gives you all of that stuff that it states on a PDF. But an actual contract needs to be signed between the beat buyer and the beat leaser and the music producer. Yeah. Each person needs to state it, and it also needs to state exactly how long. Then my other question would be, can I have multiple beats? I've never done it before, but can I have multiple beats out? So can everybody in this room lease the same beat from me at the same time? And say you all buy the same beat today. Would it then be a case of everybody has non-exclusive use of the beat for the period of a year? Is that possible, or do the licenses have to run at different times?
No, that's the whole point. They can run concurrently. No, the fact is, everybody knows. He knows that there's someone else with the same beat out there.
He doesn't know who, but he knows
does
that
it.
it's
Yeah,
happening.
exactly. Someone out there also has the same beat. So whenever I hear it, I shouldn't throw a feed. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
Okay.
it doesn't stop you from doing that. All you have to do is manage the timelines. You know what I mean? The expiry of those leases and go back. And preferably, I'll even advise that whenever a beat is put out as a lease, right? As a non-exclusive lease, don't then try and make it exclusive, because that's where problems start.
Yeah.
Now you're going to make it exclusive while someone still has. The problem is on you. You're the one who has to take, you know what I mean?
They've got those 8 months still to go, and there you
Yeah.
are busy with.
So
an
the guy,
exclusive.
funny
Yeah, I get it.
how the guy who buys the non-exclusive after the exclusive, the guy usually buys the exclusive after the non-exclusive. Usually tend to think that he's got more bargaining power than the guy who bought the, but he bought it first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He bought it first.
Yeah.
They have to resolve it.
his
It's a
contract
breach
must
in terms of
end.
their contract.
It's a
He's not
breach on
if
ours.
ever there's anything that's gonna happen, we're gonna say, "Hey, chief, you are stopped from using this beat." There's
Until my crappy song that's not even on radio
yeah,
runs.
Basically.
that's what it is.
Unless you pay me. You gotta
So
get your
now,
money, man.
yeah. So basically, now it even becomes violation on it. He can sue you, not the other way around.
That's wild.
What? Flip the tables. Reverse.
Right. I mean, people don't know. People don't know these things, man. There's so many. I mean, you look at like so many songs where you know the artist speaks on the song. He's like, no, I heard it on YouTube, and then I made the song, and then the lawyer people spoke to the person afterwards. I mean, someone else could have made a beat. A song off that thing on YouTube, and then if they had enough power, would challenge the hit maker.
Yeah,
And say that's mine, fam.
exactly.
Can't
Here's
use
my
that.
contract. I got the paper to prove that I bought this first on this day. It's still in effect. You know what
So
I mean?
that it'll only work if Deliza were to download the beat illegally, and then I bought the beat, and then I
Yeah.
said, "There's a contract."
Exactly. Yeah.
So then everything.
But even
you
though
earn
I'm
is
the
to
like
come-
I have a smash hit or whatever, then you still can be like, nah.
Yeah.
So I get the royalties, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
This guy's plotting something.
Yeah, he is.
You have to
figured it out.
something.
Yes.
I've figured it out.
He really is. I don't know what it is,
Is
but there's a master plan going
Life is
into this guy's
expensive,
life.
bruh.
Yeah.
The interest rates have gone up, dog.
Hey.
Gotta figure out a way, dog.
Anyhow, anyway.
So yeah, man, like the way that we manage contracts, we can actually do it better. It's not only licensing contracts, because most of the work that I do is on contracts. I work in general with contracts. So the contracts, the way that they're managed in general, the music industry is the only industry in South Africa, as far as I'm concerned, where I don't see a lot of active contract management happening.
Okay.
Things are just signed. Put away.
Let's go into a minefield, right? You say you deal with a lot of contracts.
Yes, sir.
Those contracts include recording contracts.
Yeah, I've
between
seen a couple.
artists.
Yeah.
What are
Sure, you're going there.
Brace yourself.
Brace yourself. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Let's go.
there's a perception right now that recording contracts are skewed in the favor of record labels. Is that true from what you've seen? Are the contracts fair?
100%.
Definitely.
He's count-
Okay,
He's
now.
looking at his relationships.
Yeah,
He's calculating.
No, definitely. I mean, think about it. You're a capitalist. You've proved it.
I'm not a
Since you're-
capitalist. I'm just trying to survive.
These are
dog.
facts now.
proved
These are
it.
facts
These
now.
facts now.
These are facts.
Statements. He's not asking you
These are
questions.
facts.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna-
put it to you.
I'm gonna sue you, bro.
This is on your wiki profile, man. This is your.
I'm gonna get. I'm getting
wait.
300K from this guy, bro.
I put it to you that you're a capitalist. And obviously, there is no deal that you're going to put out there that's not in your favor. You even say there's no fairness. I mean, if I were to put something together between the two of us, obviously, even if I don't intend to,
Okay, it must be equitable then.
it's always going to be based on my perspective of
Yeah,
things. So
yeah.
that can also be viewed as skewed in my favor. I see the whole relationship in my own perspective
In
as a
your
record
lens,
label.
yeah.
So definitely, I'm only thinking of my risk. How am I going to actually address this risk? So it's definitely going to be my... If the artist was to draft the contract, it will still be the same effect. It will have the same effect. So it's a matter of what do the parties really want at the end of the day? What's fair to an artist? But the thing is, you wouldn't know what's fair to you if you don't even know the industry. So that, hence, for me, I feel like there's an obligation on the artist to actually understand the industry before they can even go and sign a deal. You know?
Delisa, you got a lot of work to do, bro.
And I know
Bruh.
some artists are happy to get, can I call it quote unquote, screwed over.
Yeah.
Looking at a contract, they'll say, okay, cool.
Do we not want to reword that?
No, I don't. I'm not going to reword it.
Suddenly turned PG. I mean, like R18, should I say?
The views of the guests and the hosts are not the views,
Our views
of the
collectively.
platform.
Right.
Silas, if they sue you, I'm gonna say I told
your
him.
own.
I told him.
Scoop told you, bro.
I
Scoop
warned
told you.
him. Yeah, so we've got. I'm even forgetting my point now.
You said when record labels screw you over.
Yes, and being okay with the fact.
Oh,
You
okay.
get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That it's 2 years, sharp. For those 2 years, I'm going to, I'm going to just have a really bad time. I'm going to do whatever it is that they say, but I'm going to leverage what they have. And then after leveraging what they have, once I feel that, I'm here and at the end of the 2 years, I'll reevaluate. I'm probably going to leave. But I've gotten what I want. I've kind of.
But
cut
have you
off
seen
my
those
arm
contracts,
and-
though?
What?
But have you seen those contracts? They kind
Some
of
are.
they put in things like we own the rights for the 3 years or whatever, the 3 albums, and then also we have the right to basically renew that without you having the right to do that, without having that option. It's just like when I saw that in a contract, I was like, what? Like I actually did go. I had a contract that was presented to me, and
By
it had
label?
that clause in it.
Label
was,
contract.
No, it was a distribution.
Oh.
It was
My beats are being used somewhere.
I'm sure there's outstanding invoice here. Hey,
Yo, this guy, he saw placement size.
Bruh, what have you done to him? This is you.
hey.
But yeah, there was that clause of like they own your. Well, obviously because they're a distributor and they'll get their whatever they cut. But then there was the thing of like after the period has lapsed, they have the option of actually doing it for the next 5 years. And I was like,
Yeah.
but you don't have the. I was like, and I got a lawyer friend.
Yeah.
And he explained. I thought I was seeing things. I don't know what. I was like, are they saying?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, they own you.
So they can
They own
re-sign you.
Yeah, so basically the contract is not for as long as you think it is. It's actually for longer because
Yeah,
any
there's-
bit of success means that that's actually the period
Yeah,
they
so
own
like
you
you
for.
give them first preference, when it comes to renewal of that contract. You say, you know what, should things pop off or if this thing comes to an end, the record label will have the first option to be considered for should you sign another, should you wish to sign another.
That's fair.
It depends how you interpret it.
Yeah, bro. Because if you're trying to do what G said, is in like I'm gonna use this as a stepping stone for the first 3 years.
Yeah.
No, it's not, my guy. We own you for 6 years.
Because then they're going to use you for the next.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're gonna only use you for the next 3 years. So it's like
but what you say, I'm confusing because what you're saying is you have the right to come to the table, but you're saying they can renew it.
They're saying they can automatically renew it after the
automatically,
termination period. If
after that period of owning
Yo, that's
whatever it
slavery,
is they
dog.
own,
Sorry,
they
no, it's
have
not.
the right to renew it for another. It basically have the right to extend it
Yeah.
without
Exercising
you
that
really
Without
having
you.
without you
Is that legal?
having the option to.
'Cause you're
I don't
entering
want to
into-
name companies and names.
But you're entering
They're
into a contract that
they're quite prominent.
no, I don't want to jump.
No.
I'm not gonna obviously say
Not obviously, I don't want to
But-
jump into saying no, it's illegal or not. Obviously, I would have to read the whole contract, you understand, and also understand what's under your termination clause. What does it say? You know what I mean? Find out it is an option to renew for them. Obviously, if they've invested in you, just like you said, for the 3 years, right, and then you tend to pop off, right. Now, for you to take all your success elsewhere. Once they've put in on the work, it becomes something. So now, hence, they have that right of first preference when it comes to renewal. Should you want to continue on the same terms or whatever, renegotiate, they'll have that first option to renew. It makes sense for me in that way. At the same time, if you're a flop for these 3 years, they wouldn't want to, hold on to that. They have to actually cut their losses, and
So it's a way for them to stop.
you shouldn't expect an automatic renewal.
Yeah.
How do we feel about giving record labels masters? Is it something that you guys agree with? What are your feelings?
It depends. This one is a big. It depends because once again, artists don't know what they can do with them. So everyone's going on about masters. I want to keep my masters. What? Okay, so what are you gonna do with them? What are you gonna do with them?
Yeah.
And they go like, but that means I own the song. No, bro, you own the song in different ways. If you have the master, it just kind of, to put it in a blanket term, it just means you determine what can be done with the song, right? So you have your publishers, you have a whole copyright, and you have all these types of right. But your masters, in a blanket term, it just means that, okay, you can decide if the song
plays in a certain place. Like you are the person that people will come to and say, okay, can we play your song in an advert or whatever it is, right? You own the master, you negotiate or whatever it is, right? Unless you have a publisher to act on your behalf. But now, how many of those opportunities are you going to get as someone who's not known and who you own your master, but what's happening with your music? Is someone taking it and putting it in the places where you can earn a lot of money? And if it's a label, labels have ties with video games, with movies, with all of these platforms where your song can be taken and used, and then everyone wins, and on a larger scale. So even if your contract says of that royalty you only get 20% of like multi-million, you know, is good, and it's more money than you would have gotten. But if you own the master and you sitting there on the song, then what are you doing with it? Unless you're going to go out to a publisher then and then have a publishing deal, and then from there you get, what is it now, 50% is usual? Is that the normal amount? Less?
No, what for a publisher?
Yeah, for a publisher.
It's different right across the board. Let me just say
Really?
that it's very, very.
So you can get like where they get more of the cut, but then it depends.
I'm saying it's supposed to be lower.
Yeah, it's supposed to be low.
Of who's getting the cut?
The publisher
Should get lower.
they really should. If they're not, the artist
You
is.
signed a bad deal.
Okay. So
bro.
50% is already going to bad.
Yeah, that's already.
All right.
Okay.
They're already
Too
eating
much.
you. They're already charring you. Okay. All right. So at least. But even then, once again, who is the publisher? Are these people who frequently get songs in the right places and make and actually generate a lot of revenue? So even that cut, even if let's say it was screwed over 50% of, once again, lots of money is better than 50% of nothing. So for me, I say as an artist, it just depends on what are they promising. I would want to know. They wouldn't expect an artist to actually know and say, what can you do with my music? Tell me, where are your links? By signing with you, who do you have ties with? How many people have you got onto video games? Have you got an artist on FIFA or whatever it is? You know what I mean? Where's the music being used that you've had before? Because if it is a big label and it's someone like Universal, then there might be a gap to actually say yes and be like, okay, cool. You can own a larger percent or whatever percentage of the masters. I'm cool with that because you guys are more likely to get my music in the right place and generate additional revenue with my music. So
Look, if it doesn't even have to be a big label for me. I've worked with a bunch of publishers, and like if I just speak about maybe not so much the ownership, but more so revenue and just royalties and just generating income in general. I have learned the benefit of giving up a little bit of what I'm getting to get a lot more in the long run.
yeah.
And I think just right across the music industry already, just bringing people, like if we take this as an example, you bring someone into the business, you now have to take it, there's two directors in the business, now you're splitting your product. That's the first thought I think we as creatives have, like, damn it, I had this thing, it was my baby, now I'm splitting it down the center with this person, that means I'm getting less. But we never look at it from the point of, I'm bringing in a second person, second brain, more hands, more opportunities, more connections, and that's what we get.
So the pie gets bigger.
The
So
pie
even if it's a
actually
slice,
does the
but
other
the
thing.
slice is much bigger.
But why not just license your music?
That's where I was getting at.
Do you have?
To say.
Do you have?
That's what I was getting. If
You don't
want-
even have the 20,000 for the payola for the DJ.
I feel
Do
like
you have
it's
the
really
energy and
premature.
time?
It's premature for an upcoming artist or someone first time recording deal signee to expect to own their masters outright at the end of the deal. It's quite premature, bro.
Yeah.
Like you haven't garnered any leverage of some sort, you know what I mean? So I feel like if you wanna own your masters outright, don't get signed. License your stuff. But then for your stuff to even get licensed, you have to have some sort of, numbers behind you.
Yeah.
So
Are you
I
saying
think it's
people's
fair.
stuff is worthless? Are you saying that people's, like in the beginning, their stuff is not worthless, but its perceived value is very low. Therefore, it's okay. You can dish it out now while the perceived value is low.
Yeah.
But then isn't that?
Yeah, I feel like you have to
isn't that
build
going to
up.
open the window for the 50%ers? To
Yeah,
say,
but
well,
then
you
maybe
are
it's 50%.
You are nothing. So, not even 50, 70. Shut
What
up.
were you getting before?
Eat your 30%. Shut up.
Hey, yeah, just like
But
Deliza
then,
said.
but then with masters, it's not like when you sign the label. This is my understanding of it. It's
Yeah.
not like you get that 20%. You still have to pay back your advance
Yeah, definitely.
in your 80-20 split.
Yeah.
So
I think that's that. I think that's where the what you call it, the exploitation comes in. It's that whole advance thing, and obviously they look at themselves as a business,
Exploitation.
right? So basically, like you know how a business will use. Hey, bruh, you guys are trying to get us into trouble, though.
Let the man finish.
You know how a business will basically have expenses as tax deductions, right?
yeah,
So they're using you now
yeah,
basically to take away from the possible profit they could get, right?
yeah.
I could run up a bill on you as much as I want, even though everyone is in-house. The producer works for Universal, he gets a salary, what. When you go record, there's a bill that's run up. But I already pay him a salary. There shouldn't be a bill. This guy's already off a salary of what. He's already forms part of the revenue that's coming in from another artist. You know, the business has enough money to pay him. But what they do is on paper, no, Adrian's rate is 10,000 Rand an hour. What? And then when your song is a hit, they bring up suddenly this receipt of, oh, by the way, remember when you had a knick-knack on the tour bus? Yeah, that knick-knack was 500. And then when you did this,
we went to.
yes, do you remember that business meeting we went to introduce you?
Business
The petrol, yes, the petrol was this much. The what? But you've already taken the advance. Give us the money. Oh, you don't have the money because you spent it. All right, cool. So the sales from your song, you see, the 3 million that technically you earn from the song, it isn't 3 million. It's minus the 2.5 million that we spent on you.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah,
That's where the finesse is for me, and I'm just like, nah.
Yeah, actually,
labels, come on.
One of the earlier
Come
contracts
on.
that I reviewed, that was one of the things that I picked up. And the question that I posed back to the label was to say, where are you recouping the money? Because we have different income streams. You must be clear where you're recouping this money. Are you recouping it from the bookings? Are you recouping it from the royalties? And if it's royalties, which royalties? You know what I mean? Because if it's just left out in the air,
It's a 360.
exactly, like you take money and say that you're paying or you're recouping for the advance whatsoever, for wherever. You know what I mean? It becomes harder to track for me as an artist.
Yeah.
You understand? So the moment I'm confused, you can dribble me more.
Yeah, and then you get angry as the artist.
Exactly.
And we've seen some really angry artists that
Yeah.
have gotten so mad because, look, they probably didn't get anyone to read the contract with them in the first place. Then from there, things went well for a short while. They received their advance, and all of a sudden they didn't have that much money, and then now the money's being taken away, the little that they are earning. Then all along the way, at some point, they bump into a piece of paper that has a number on it. They're like, man, isn't this the invoice that from my show from last week? Yeah. They see a number there, they're like, man, but this is not making sense. Then they go back. Then they bring these guys in. Okay, let's see what's going on here.
only
And then
to
they
find-
go back, and only to find that
Money's being made off your name, but you already signed that money away. The moment you signed that paper, you signed that money all away.
Yeah.
So then, what do artists do?
I
know that whole read thing. You said it just now.
it's in a way it goes back to the hustle.
Bruh.
Yeah.
It goes back to the reading. I think at the least, right, have enough people or you have enough skills to make your own music. That should just be number one. So if you go into a label with nothing, my guy, you just had enough money to go to a studio, record a demo, and what, and maybe your song popped off a little bit, and now you're using that leverage to go to them. That the label's gonna rub their hands together and be like, yo, how much do you want for this in advance? Tell us. You know what I mean? They'll do that. If you go there and be like, look, I don't need you for A, B, C.
Yeah.
I've got it. Don't worry about that. I need you for marketing, radio, or whatever. And you can name the specific things you need them for. I think you go in there, even without a hit song, just being able to say, look, you may have this as part of your contract, but I actually don't need that. I can make my own music. I can make my own music.
Are labels going to want to do that?
They're not going to want to do that. But then you shouldn't be signing that contract. But I think you should already be starting there. Without even a hit song, I think that should be baseline. Because anything less than that, you're already screwed over. Even if you know what you're talking about. I can't go to a label and not be able to basically I'm going to rely on their recording services. I'm going to rely on their managers, they tour bus, they whatever. That's all the money that they're going to use as bills against me. So I have got, forget zero leverage, I'm at a negative already. So my advice to any artist would be just go there with, you have to have something. Don't be at ground zero, my guy. If you're ground zero,
usually
licking their lips, my guy.
Usually, at this day and age, like labels sign you based on a hit single.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a hit single out, for them, it's a guarantee that they know that they can then just take their systems and plug it into your single, and then the systems go. If you have nothing, then.
But also, I think you should be responsible, bruh, because remember the label is gonna tell you, we're gonna recoup in this split. If a label gives you 10 million, do you think your songs are gonna make 10 million rand? So why would you take the 10 million?
Hey, right.
Okay, that's fast money. That's fast.
Yeah, for starters, that's money. No one is going to say no to money.
10 million, you know what I'm saying?
And also with the 10 million, SARS is coming.
Yeah.
No, that's
This nigga
true.
said,
Who was it?
Are you confused?
No, I think I saw someone actually doing a breakdown of that, of like saying, okay, you're an artist, you get $1 million.
Yeah, I think it was Corday that did that.
Was it Corday? Yeah, I just remember a video like that.
Yeah.
And then he broke it down bit by... No, it was Russ.
Oh, yeah, it was also Russ.
Yeah, I saw Russ doing it. Yeah, and he broke down, okay, so your manager's this much, the label takes this much, Taxman comes in and takes 40%, what. And then that million quickly becomes 200 or 150,000, and you have gone and bought a house, bought a Benz, what. Meanwhile, you never owned that money. So maybe don't take, I think in advances, I mean, obviously in America, the amount that, I don't think here, the advances, I don't think anyone's offered really that much. Because once again, it will probably be a label that's calling you after a hit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not before. So I don't think the advances here are really...
But even if you get,
that
let's say
deep.
you get $1 million, right? And your split is 80-20. You would have to make that $1 million back, your song would have to make, what is it? 5 million in total for you to pay it back. And then only then do you start earning the money.
Do you actually start earning
within
the
this
money?
80-20 split.
Yeah. Other people, like those...
And that's not a lot of money, dude.
Other artists, I've heard of other artists whereby they sign the deal, right? But then they use... These are obviously like real hustlers. I think it was 50 Cent or someone who did this. And not before Interscope, where he used the money to plant back into his music. And he did street promo. So eventually to get his ultimate deal
tax
and hit,
deductible now.
He now used that money to actually use it what it's intended for. The problem is that people think in advance is just, hey, we happy to have you here.
Yeah, you've made
Here
it.
you go, sir. Here's $1 million. That's what they think it is. No, it's the money. The label is technically saying we are fronting you this much for your career, which we're going to bill anyway. So either you use it appropriately and make sure that your career happens. But if you squander it, fine. But if you blow up, we're getting that money back for sure, and even more. So if an artist for some reason does get an advance, don't think of that advance as your money. That money is your career's money. That's your business money. They're giving you, it's like a bank loan for a business. That's what the advance is. So don't just take it and then think, okay, I'm rich now. Take it, find out, okay, so I need to do this much street promo. I need to pay this many DJs. I need
to come DJ at your shows, not for anything crazy.
I just thought I'd put it in terms you would understand.
Legal terms. No.
Yeah. But you gotta look the part, man. Like I wouldn't necessarily blame someone for taking that money and buying a car or buying clothes and whatnot. You gotta look the part.
That could be tax deductible, right? I remember rappers were doing that. They'll go to the strip club, take a video of themselves blowing money and charge it and write it off as a tax deductible and say it's marketing.
Wow.
That's smart.
And then pick up the dollars afterwards. Put it in the bag, guys. Put it in the bag.
I don't know how the tax system works that side, but yeah.
It's a stretch, I guess. It's a stretch to say that this is a marketing.
Maybe there's a lawyer who knew a loophole who told him to do that. Like, I was like, yo, go.
Yeah, but usually, when these advances come, man, like artists would have been through the most. You know what I mean? To get that deal, you would have been through the most.
That's true.
Find out you don't even have a place to stay. You don't have, you know what I mean? You also don't want to rack up the bill now with Ubers whenever you have to go to shows and stuff. You want to make your life easier, basically, to even look the part. Because society, at the end of the day, they're going to look at you, oh, you signed to Sony now. Why are you still in the shack? You know what I mean? Type of thing. So you actually, it puts pressure on you to actually, on the artist rather, to actually
It's
do
them
something.
putting the pressure. Pull up in a whip that's black and forward, and you in the shack, bro. Like,
I don't know,
That's
but
true.
people usually buy, like, you know, people usually buy into this whole thing of glitz and gam. It's no secret that the industry is all about
But
that.
this is why I say that you know a lot of people will say that record labels are evil. I'm like, actually, record labels do everything by the book. They do by the book. They're screwing over comes.
this guy's ad-libs are mad, bro.
Bruh. Do you need to have like a separate like 101 to address all the issues with all these companies?
Man's got Diddy ad-libs,
Okay,
dog.
now at the end of this podcast, it's Silas time. All right. So it's not for me. It's of course the label knows that you're gonna be desperate. You're gonna use this money to what. They're gonna get their money back in certain ways. There's things in the contract that makes them win either way. You know what I mean? These guys they're in suits. It's these guys.
But the thing is,
These guys
labels
are
are
so
also smart.
they
Like,
know.
do you
You're playing
think?
to the artist's downfall?
But technically, it's by the book. They're not doing anything illegal.
Exactly. So I know his question that he asked was
Bro, this
like,
is not death row, bro. There's no
that he
Suge Knight.
asked-
There's no Suge Knight. What are you talking about?
was how does an artist genuinely think that they will make back that money? Like if it's, for instance, like $1 million and stuff, do you think they make it from sales? Obviously, the label, if they can offer that, my thing is that they know that they can make it off because they usually do their risk calculation right at the.
No, the label can make it because, like
Yeah.
I said in my example, you need to make 5 million. The label has made their 80% of that 5 million, so for them it's cool.
Yeah,
But for you, do you think your music can make 5 million?
it can with the different income streams. You know, like if you're only looking at,
Silence.
if you're only
I'm just-
looking at. There's now like you can be in bed with brands and whatnot, right? And still make some extra cash and stuff.
in that
You know what I mean?
way.
If you're only looking at
Okay.
record sales,
Okay.
it becomes
Got you.
you know.
But that's where the 360 deal comes in. And once again, who's going to sign the 360 deal? The guy living in a shack with nothing, who's going to take the advance, who's going to sign this 360 deal, meaning that even those extra monies are going to immediately pay off that advance and all, and then they're still going to eat from that. They're going to eat whatever percentage they choose.
And the label will make it bigger then. Yo. and
Yeah,
you're stuck
that
in the-
exactly. So
like,
you
you're stuck in the
you
loop.
screwed over once you sign. But what you were saying earlier is that it's the artist's responsibility to make sure that you're not screwed over, because technically they'll screw you over in a legal way, which is probably the worst because you can't fight it in the future. You can't
Yeah.
ask for things back in the future.
Yeah, that's the thing,
Taylor
like-
Swift had to re-record all
Re-record
her,
her stuff,
her
yeah.
songs, and that's an effort, just to get money. She couldn't fight it legally. She signed. So what was she gonna do?
What
Yeah, that's the thing.
What happens in the case where you are not? Because now we're working on the premise that you are the artist. We're talking about the artist as the individual.
So not to cut you, I think this is the last discussion.
Okay,
and, yeah.
okay, cool. So we've got the artist as the individual, but you working within a label, and a label has multiple people in it. I'm sure you've seen situations where you've got a headlining act, and then they'll catch majority of the promo. They'll catch all the focus will go to them, and you're just a fringe person now. And then you get, what's the term? Shelved.
Yeah.
Where they then now it starts to, you can even feel it that now they're using less money on you. It feels like you're just not getting the same sort of love that you were getting before.
Yeah, I've seen it a couple of times.
Yeah.
You know, that's usually the case with even with smaller labels. You always have your poster boy, the guy where all the budget goes in, and then you have your new artist. Maybe they only have one song. You know what I mean? They get signed based off of that one song, and then still the preference goes to the main artist, and then they get shelved. So now it means, from my experience, when I was reviewing certain record contracts, what I asked was if someone because they would just put it as a blanket statement. Okay, we will shoot a video. We will do 1, 2, 3. And my comments to that are like, okay, you're going to shoot a video for how much? When? It becomes easier to enforce. Should you now be benched? You know what I mean? You can easily say, hey, as per clause 3 of the record contract, you were supposed to shoot a video on such a date. Because if it's just we're gonna shoot a video, then preference goes to this star boy of the label. They don't.
We didn't say when.
Exactly. That's what they're gonna say.
A video of your funeral.
Exactly.
On
that. So it's the trick is also becomes in the negotiation now. That's why it's important that you should actually get legal representation from the onset. It's such things that get to screw you over later on the technicalities of what's there. You sign that thing that says you're gonna get a music video. It doesn't say when and
or who's gonna shoot it.
You know, what's the budget for that?
Wow.
And then you can't
camera
enforce.
phone. Yo, he's so right.
Maybe not a camera phone, but
But again, look at it. Okay, they didn't say how or who, whatever.
Yeah.
So usually the
Camera
when part,
phone.
it's as simple as just asking the simple questions. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be legal. It's now you're just applying your business mind as a business person. You are a business as an artist. If you're saying you're gonna do this for me, when are you gonna do it? Within these 3 years, are you gonna want to shoot a video on the 3rd year of my contract? Only getting my first video.
Sure. On that
You know what I
note,
mean?
guys,
Land is plain, man. Land is
it's a
plain.
lot. That's a lot to take in. But anyway, that was the 4th episode of the Hip Hop Galaxy podcast.
Yeah.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Peace out.